much, everybody, for joining the podcast. Before I start today, I want to give special thanks for every and each one of you who've been subscribing to my channel recently. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to follow me on my Instagram, I'm going to put it over here. Our today's topic is very, very deep. We'll be talking about mystical union in the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Is it actually we can attain this union, or is it just part of human imagination? First of all, mysticism is a type of belief that human beings can attain a union with God, that infinite source of knowledge, the infinite ocean of light. Like the 20th century mystic Gibran Khalil Gibran says, when you love, you should not say, God is inside of my heart. Rather say, I am in the heart of God. In the Jewish tradition, in the Jewish mystical tradition, they believe that they can attain this type of union through imitating the behavior of God, through a tree that they call the tree of life in the Kabbalistic teachings, which I'm going to put the picture over here. This tree consists of circles they call the Sephirot. Each circle has an attribute of God that the Kabbalists work on to imitate, so that he receives this type of emanation inside of his vessel to be able to project it to the outer world and start creating beauty. Every sephira consists of an attribute like wisdom, knowledge, love, mercy, and those beautiful aspects of God that the Kabbalist work his best to imitate those virtues, to be that righteous human that will be able to project his righteousness to the outer world. This tree of life connects the above with the below, which they practiced. They believed that the knowledge comes from the above and gets received to the kingdom of earth, the materialistic world we live in today. Yet, before our time today, in Jewish mystical traditions, they believe that to attain this wisdom, you need to be at least 40 years old. Because if you are younger, you might not be ready for this type of knowledge. And you might be scared or having some kind of experiences that you're not ready for it. That is why they kept it as a secret till you reach a 40 years old of age. Unlike today, anybody can go out and study Kabbalah, study mysticism, which is not preferred by the traditional way of practicing this type of knowledge. On the other hand, we have in Christian traditions, Christian mystical traditions, they stressed more on the aspect of love and intellect to attain this type of union with God. They believed to be united with God, you need to have this type of intellect to understand God, to understand this pure knowledge, this communication that God will give you, and through this type of intellect, love will be created, and this love is the door for the union to God. Like the 20th century mystic Juan de la Cruz, who is a very influential figure in the mystical Christian realm, he believed that to attain this type of union, first of all, you need to have the three powers of the soul, which are the memory, which he connects to the Father, which gives birth to the Son, and he connects the power of the understanding to it, and then both are connected to the will, to the Holy Spirit. And of course, Christians are more influenced by the cross, so he projected this type of thinking to the cross. This type of knowledge and intellect will give birth in one union to love, and this love will enable humans to unite with God so that they can attain this mystical experience. Basically, what Juan de la Cruz meant is that God does not communicate himself to the soul through the flight of the soul, which is the knowledge that it has of God, but through the love that comes out from that knowledge. Such a beautiful knowledge that Juan de la Cruz had in the 16th century. Also, in the Islamic tradition, they stressed more on the remembrance of the names of God, so that every time they remember the names, they say the names, the divine names of God that came through the revelation of the Quran, they can attain some type of a mystical experience. It's like they consider the body as a vessel. Once you empty the vessel from the self and you fill this vessel by the names of God, the remembrance of God, it reaches a level of unity with God through two aspects. The first one is called the fana. The fana is when the self is lost, is no longer there. You don't no longer identify yourself with the self. The self is not a subject anymore. Then after the fana comes the baqa. Baqa means the remaining of the higher self inside of the vessel. So you empty it from the lower self and you fill it with the higher self. So you become the eyes of the higher self, the eyes of the divine, the ears of the divine, the mouth of the divine. So they had more stress on this type of remembrance, close to the Jewish tradition, where they also imitate God through the sephiras, which also are connected to the names of God. Every circle in the sephira has a name for God that they remember through. Same as in the Muslim Sufi tradition, they remember God through the names that came through the revelation of the Quran. All of the 10 attributes in the Tree of Life are found among the 99 names of God in Islam. Yet, in the Islamic tradition, there is even more than 99 names. And all of those names are attributes of the Creator. Also, the Muslim mystics stressed on the poetry by expressing their love to the divine through their poetry. Like the 13th century mystic Jalaluddin Rumi, who attained this type of union and projected his love of God inside of his poetry. He said, "I died from minerality and became vegetable, and from vegetativeness I died and became animal. I died from animality and became man. Then why fear disappearance through death? Next time I shall die, bringing forth wings and feathers like angels. After that, soaring higher than angels. What you cannot imagine, I shall be that." Also he say, "Soul receives from soul that knowledge, therefore not by book, nor from tongue. If knowledge of mysteries come after emptiness of mind, that is illumination of heart." That is something that is connected also to the Christian and to the Jewish mysticism, where they believe to attain this type of union, you will start communicating with God, but not the verbal type of communication, the worldly type of communication, yet it will be a spiritual light type of communication. God communicates with us through everything around us, through nature, through people, through everything. Also through sacred geometry and sacred symbolism that is around us. Yet, this type of mystical knowledge through all of the religions was hated by the mainstream type of the religions, because they believe that nobody can become God. This type of godlyhood is only for God. But I do not believe that those humans became God. I believe that they become immersed in God's light and God's beauty. That is what I believe. If a mystic one day comes to you and tells you, "I am God," that is not a mystic. That is somebody that is lying to you. Because saying "I am God" means he didn't lose himself yet. As we saw in their traditions, to be a mystic, you need to lose yourself in the ocean of God, not the other way. So, for those of you who believe that you become God, that is not the case. You do not become God, you become immersed in the ocean of God. Because a lot of people out there take mysticism into a dark realm. They use their mystic powers to rule over people as if they are better than everybody else. Everybody that is watching me now, that is part of any mystical study, knows that some people attain this type of power and knowledge to go out there and tell people, "We are gods." Not directly, but they can control them at least. They can control the minds through their magic, And magic can be black and can be white. Same as in Kabbalah, they believe once the intellect controls the spirit, you project negativeness inside of earth. Yet, if the spirit controls the intellect, this is white magic. Same as in the Sufi realm, same as in the Christian mystic realm. All have a good side and a bad side. What the mainstream religions did not understand is the good side. They didn't see mysticism as pure heart person. They saw it as an egoistic person that is going out there and telling people that they are gods. And they burn them. Yet, a true mystic will never tell you I. I is not for a mystic. The mystic loses the I in the ocean of God. That is the true wording of it. Also in the religious revelations, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, there is some spark of union and unity with God. Let me read some of the Old Testament verse for you that reveals that we have some kind of godly nature inside of us that connects us to God. In Genesis 1:27, it's been said that, so God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. This gives you a sense that we have this type of image, this spiritual image of God. Like the tree of life projects this virtues, those spiritual emanations, spiritual image inside of us. Also in the New Testament, it's been said that in John 14:12, I tell you this timeless truth, the person who follows me in faith, believing in me, will do the mighty miracles that I do, even greater miracles than these, because I go to be with my Father. It also means that these type of Christ abilities can also be projected into other human beings, because the Christ himself said that these abilities can even made greater inside of others. So all you need is to attain this type of mystical unity, mystical connection with God. Also in the Quranic revelation in 38:72, it's been said that in the name of God, the infinitely compassionate and merciful. So when I have molded him and breathed into him of my spirit, then fall down to him prostrating. Where God was speaking to angels, and he told angels when he will breathe from his spirit inside of a human, for angels to prostrate for the human being. This gives us a sense, a mystical sense, that we have some kind of a mystical relation with God. As long as God breathed his spirit through us, his spirit, his mighty spirit is inside of us. Yet, it doesn't mean that we are gods. We will always desire. We will always need this desire to eat, to live, to stay, to preach. We'll always have this type of desire. It doesn't mean it makes us gods if we reach this type of knowledge. I want to always emphasize on this point. Also, the core of the Abrahamic religions is the oneness of God. So it doesn't make sense for every person that becomes a mystic to claim he's a god. And don't forget, Abraham was a great mystic, yet he never claimed he's a god. Also, there's very deep mystical similarities between the three of the mystical studies. Like in the Jewish Kabbalah, the tree of life over here stands on three main pillars, which are the mercy, compassion, and judgment, which also is revealed in the first verses of the Quran, where it says, in the name of God, the infinitely compassionate, the merciful. Praise be to God, Lord of all the worlds, the compassionate, the merciful, ruler on the day of judgment. Those three pillars are reflected the same in the first verse of the Quran. Can you believe that?
Also, if you look closely over here, if you turn upside down the Jewish name of God, Yod Hey Vav Hey, and you reverse it, it becomes similar to the Arabic letters which make the word Allah. In addition to that, the Arabian Christians call God by the name of Allah. So as we see here, the same name of God is coded in the 3 religions.
We need to reconsider those similarities so that we can stand on a common ground. And the whole core of the 3 mystical studies is love. You can find love in the poetry of Rumi. How much love those Sufi poets have expressed inside of their poetry for the love of God. Also in the Christian revelations, in the Christian mysticism, love is the door to reach the union with God. Also, in the Jewish Kabbalah and Jewish mystical studies, love plays a crucial role to build up the tree of life. Through love comes compassion. And all of those aspects are similar, yet we always look at one another differently. I want to say that religions are not bad as we think. That is the thing I want to tell you. Religions have a lot of pure wisdom coded inside of them. Yet, some people out there today hate on religions. They say that they are the reason of war and destruction, yet human is the reason for that, not the religion itself. Religions gives manner, gives self-discipline to the human being so that they don't destroy, not the other way. And the people who came with the revelation, who came with mystical experiences, like Moses in the mountain, Jesus in the desert, Muhammad in the cave, peace be upon them all. All of them have this type of beautiful mystical experiences that through those experiences brought the beauty of their mystical teachings. Religions is a type of way for a certain culture to understand God. Of course, not all cultures speak the same language. Not all cultures eat the same food. Not all cultures have the same lands. Religion is connected to where we live, to the geographies we live in, the places we live in, the water we drink from, the abundance of water we have, the trees, the nature we have. Are we in a desert? Are we in a forest, in a jungle? The religions are all connected to these type of aspects. It's not only comes from how a human is. No, it's also connected to the surrounding of the human, of how that human can understand God. Because we humans are coded in different nature. That is why we need a certain type of a program, a certain type of a path to understand God through His names, through His creation, and through all of His wonders. At the end, I wanted to say something that let's be like the sky. Let's be like the moon. Let's be like the sun, like the air. They sustain us without asking us who we are, without asking us what you are, what's your color or your race, without asking you anything of that. They just sustain you because they love you. Why can't we be like the sky, the moon, and the sun? Let's be like them. Let me look at someone with a universal eye that universal eye that sees everybody as light, that doesn't see an image of separation of language, of separation of self, of identity, of titles, yet sees the spirit that is connected through all of us. Let's be like that. Let's look at one another from that eye. That is what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. My name is Hassan, and you are listening to the Rebelcast.